Sige na po.
Okay, next. Next discussion
Ano
po.
tayo?
Po.
Ang hina ng phone ko, kaya nag-out ako minsan kasi may i-off ko tapos i-on ko kasi ang hina. Pag may tumatawag sa cellphone ko,
Talagang ganyan po mamihina.
Nag-out na naman ako, i-off ko na minsan na naman. Sige po.
Wait lang. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Cernino. Next discussion.
9:33 lang. Mabibi ka.
Okay, we'll discuss. Okay, ready na po, Mrs. Nibado?
Oh, yes ko lang PowerPoint.
Okay, next discussion, we'll discuss assessing the LR materials. Please welcome Mrs. Shirley Vinibado, Teacher 3, Grade 4, and Advisor. Ms. Nibado. Feedback.
Okay. Represent a pleasant and blessed morning to all, especially to our coach, Dr. Lauren T. Velasco, Principal of Sansumian Central School, our beloved Principal, Mrs. Marilyn L. Pinlac, Mrs. Virgie Escayago, our lab leader, our lab facilitator, Mrs. Elisa T. Cayago, and our lab documenter, Mr. Jeffrey D. Villanueva. The topic that I'm going to tackle today is all about the assessing the learning resource materials, lesson 2, under module 3B. Assessing means evaluating, while learning resource materials refers to the instructional materials or devices that we use in teaching learning process. It may be in printed and non-printed form. The purpose of this document is to support educational administrators, teachers, and library staff in selecting and evaluating appropriate learning resources that complement curricula. The provision and effective use of high-quality learning resources facilitates students' construction of understanding through inquiry. So, they are better able to explore, question, identify, organize, analyze, synthesize, and evaluate information. These processes and skills enhance deeper understanding of the subject matter and promote information literacy and lifelong learning. So, in evaluating or assessing learning resources and in responding to challenges for inclusion means include, or exclusion, it means exclude of resources. The ministry adheres to the guidelines outlined in the document. Now, you are familiar with the LR portals and the resources that are available for you and your learners. While the resources may have undergone a quality assurance process, you may still need to assess the learning resources in terms of their relevance to your lessons and to your learners. In this module, we will be introduced to some steps that you can take to ensure the relevance and usefulness of each learning resource, as well as other issues that can come with the learning source. These are the objectives of the lesson. First one is assess the quality of the learning resource materials from both DepEd and non-DepEd portals using the LR Rapid Assessment Tool. Second one is discuss the insights and realizations about these learning resources. The last one is select and improve quality assured learning resources that are appropriate for your teaching learning needs. We have the key topics or concepts. We have learning resources, LR assessment tool, and quality assurance. The resources required are LR rapid assessment tool, and we have our study notebook. Let us now go to the organization of learning resources. How do we organize? We have implementation resources, additional resources, and other useful materials. Implementation resources complement new and renewed curricula in an effective way and include key professional or student resources. The example for this is a comprehensive source that broadly addresses several of the student learning outcomes. Example, anthology. So anthology means published collection of writings such as poems or short stories by different authors. A video, a major integrated source or a textbook, yung kung ginagamit natin. An in-depth student resource that addresses at least one student learning outcome, or a professional resource, teacher reference for educators could be considered. These materials include high-quality resources in variety of formats that have gone through the format resource evaluation process and support the student learning outcomes. The second one is additional resources. Materials posted as additional resources are also recommended resources that have gone through the formal resource evaluation process. In-evaluate po ito. And address curricula in an effective way. They may include a variety of high-quality key, professional, and supplementary resources in multiple formats. However, where funds are limited, educators are advised to start by purchasing implementation. Dito po yung ating mga additional resources. Okay, the third one is other useful materials. Resources identified as other useful materials are items that are awaiting review or may not have undergone the same formal evaluation process that is required for implementation. Additional resources. The ministry recommends these resources according to ministry priorities. These are the general criteria for the evaluation assessment of learning resources. The first one, instructional design. Learning resources are user-friendly. Example, do not require extensive in-service before using. Learning resources foster deeper understanding of the subject being addressed. They relate to the curriculum, or they are connected. Next, they are consistent with its philosophy. They are reasonable regarding expected classroom time commitment. Example for this is lengthy sequential programs that were created to be taught from beginning to end in order to be effective tend to take time away from teaching the curriculum and are not recommended. The second one is the content or the format. Learning resources are well organized and of high artistic, literary quality. They also offer content that is current or the most recent, accurate, free from mistake or errors, free from copyright infringement, and authentic. Infringement or trespass on a right or a privilege. Authentic is real. The third one is we have social considerations. Learning resources are equitable or fair concerning age, ability, culture, gender, socioeconomic status, religion, and occupation. They are as free from bias as reasonably possible. Bias or unfair. They are appropriate for the general age and maturity level of the audience. Learning resources are free from intrusive advertising, intrusive or annoying someone with their privacy. The fourth one is the physical quality. Learning resources offer durability or able to access for a long time and high physical and technical quality. And they are appealing to the intended audience. Number 5, we have qualifications of developer. Learning resources have been developed and validated by qualified, reputable people. Validated or we have to ratify or make it legally. And the last one, criteria for the evaluation assessment of learning resources, we have the cost. Learning resources are reasonable regarding the cost. Dapat po yung tama lang po sa cost ng sandali po. Okay, the following are examples of DepEd learning materials, websites, or portals. Okay, number 1 is Learning Resource Portal. We have the DepEd Commons. Other examples are DepEd Learning Resources, DepEd Teaching and Learning Resources, and the last one is DepEd Tambayan for math teachers. The following are examples of non-DepEd learning materials, websites, or portals. We have the weareteachers.com, teacherspayteachers.com, and facebook.com. Others are GSNA Text Learning Channel, Home Learning Resource, Teacher Lorraine Instructional Materials. Okay. DepEd Learning Resource, how are DepEd Learning Resource materials compared to non-DepEd Learning Resource materials? They will read. DepEd Learning Resource materials are specific. Specific means precise or exact, accurate, suited or appropriate to the grade because they are connected to the MELCs or we have the most essential learning competencies and they have undergone through intensive assessment. Intensive, giving force or emphasis, tuman po sa matinding pagsusuri. Like the rapid assessment tool before using by the teachers and the learners to be effective. They are easy to reproduce or disseminate. It also came from a credible source or author, culture and gender fair, free from red flags on possible copyright and plagiarism issues. Plagiarism means using another person's words or ideas without giving credit to that person. While some of the learning resource materials are not accurate, they're not specific, they're not authentic, and they are not assessed intensively using the rapid assessment tool by the curriculum specialist. Okay, we have example of learning resource rapid assessment tool. Rapid assessment of learning resources. So we have the first column is the material connected and relevance to the MELCs or most essential learning competencies. So we have to check a yes, no, or cannot be determined. Number 2 is the material appropriate or suited to the grade level and learners' characteristics in terms of language and activities. So ano pa rin? Yes, no, or cannot be determined. The third one is it easy to reproduce and disseminate? Check po natin yung yes, no, and cannot be determined. Number 4, is it came from a credible source or author? Ano pa rin po. The fifth one is it culture and gender fair? Next, is it free from red flags on possible copyright and plagiarism issues? The last one is the layout or the design and format easy to read and pleasing to the eyes? Now that we have done with rapid assessment tool of learning resources, we have some reflection questions to answer. Number 1, was the material able to meet all the requirements? Number 2, were there any questions in the assessment tool where you answered no or cannot be determined? Then, what decision will you make on the learning resource material? Why? So we are going to give the reason. Number 3, are there other aspects of the material that covered by the tool but still need to be assessed? Specify which aspect. The last one, how does this exercise help you in picking the right and appropriate LRs for your lesson and your learners? So ang gagawin po natin, magda-download po tayo dito for our activities. Magda-download po tayo ng learning material from non-DepEd at isa pong learning resource material from non-DepEd. At saka, i-assess po natin gamit po ang ating LR Rapid Assessment Tool. So, pwede na natin kung gamitin ito yung ginawa po natin na yung po mix dun sa seminar, sa webinar po natin. Pwede natin pong i-assess yun. Okay, these are our activities. So for activity 1, study the LR Rapid Assessment Tool. Download an LR from either DepEd Commons or LRMDS portal and assess the material using the tool. So these are the questions to be answered after downloading an LR from either DepEd Commons or LRMDS. The first one is, was the material able to meet all the requirements? Number 2, were there any questions in the assessment tool where you answered no or cannot be determined? Then what decision will you make on the LR material? Give your reason. The third one is, are there other aspects of the material that covered by the tool but still need to be assessed? Specify which aspect. Number 4, how does this exercise help you in picking the right and appropriate LRs for your lesson and your learners? Ito po yung gagamitin natin po sa pag-assist dun sa dinownload po natin na learning resource. One from DepEd and other from non-DepEd. So, i-assess po natin yung material na dinownload po natin. Activity 2. Explore other non-DepEd portals, platforms you can find online. Example po dito yung LRMDS, tapos yung mga online. Take note of the portals in your study notebook. Download at least one LR from each portal. Assess the materials using the same tool. Number 1, based on the assessment tool, how does the material from a non-DepEd po ito, compare with the LR from DepEd portal? Number 2, i-assess po natin yung material na kinuha po natin sa non-DepEd. 1 from non-DepEd. Kukompare po natin dun sa learning resource from DepEd portals. The second one is, based on the results of the assessment tool, what improvements to the materials, both from DepEd and non-DepEd portals, still need? Ilalagay po natin dito yung, gagawin po natin ng improvement. Ano pa ba yung mga improvement na pwede natin idagdag dun sa dinownload po natin o ginawa po natin na learning material galing po sa DepEd, tsaka yung galing po sa non-DepEd portals. Ano po ba yung mga kailangan pa nating improvement? Third one is, how does this exercise help you in picking the right and appropriate learning resources for your lesson and learners? Nakatulong po ba ito at paano po nakatulong ang exercise ito? Activity 3. Choose one of the learning resource materials that you have developed. Assess this material using the same tool. Ganun pa rin po yung present ko po kanina. And then answer the following questions in your study notebook. Okay. Example po dito, yun na lang pong gagawin natin, yung comics na ginawa natin. Number 1, how does your material compare with the ones that are obtained from the online portals? So, i-compare po natin yung ginawa natin na comics doon sa, na-access po natin doon sa online portal. Number 2, what improvements do you still need to make in your developed material? For the last activity, share and discuss your answers to the questions in activities 1, 2, and 3 in your next lab session. Jot down insights and information that can be used or that can be useful to you in choosing the appropriate LRs. Submit your LR assessments with your reflections on the exercises to your lab leader. Ensure that you keep a copy for yourself. Then, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Congratulations po.
Question po, any clarification po?
So, congratulations, Kumare.
Pinakabala ko ano.
Meron po ba kayong
May
mga
susunod pa.
tanong?
May susunod pa po.
Wala na po, ma'am.
Wala
Sila
na.
lang po, ma'am. Sa araw na to, ma'am.
Sila lang.
Opo, sa Friday na po yung dalawa po.
Kamusta yung mga outputs nyo?
Outputs, ongoing.